Hello, I'm Paul Anderes, Union County Commissioner, and with me is Tim Wallender. Wanted to visit with you today a little bit about the elk herds in the Grande Ronde Valley this winter, 2018-2019. The matter came to the Union County Commissioners early February, just after, I believe it was the second of the big storms, and just after the release of the video from Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife showing a herd of in excess of 700 elk on Red Pepper Road. Since that time, we've received multiple, and I counted the other day, and I'm into multiple dozens of complaints from agricultural producers, from damage ranging from haystack damage to field crop damage, elk crossing fields causing damage, and to include also them just living on the fields and digging and pawing it to get some nutrition. Through this process for me, I've been working with Representative Barretto, who's got a bill in front of on the House side of the Oregon legislature. After testimony subsequent of that, I was asked to be on the elk task force. Yesterday I went down to Salem and worked on a committee, and we're making some pretty good progress on that. On the Senate side, there's a similar bill introduced by Senator Hansel, and that one, in my opinion, is not getting a lot of traction on the Senate side. I think our hope for management tools will be coming out of the House side. Representative Brad Witt is the chair of the Natural Resources, and he's been very open to suggestions and solving the problem. Mr. Wallender was one of the early folks to contact us about damage, and he could probably speak more directly to the damage and the problems that the producers are facing.
Thanks, Paul. Some of the producers in the area and I have come to the commissioners and addressed our concerns about the elk being on private property in the valley floor. The damages that I'm hearing from other producers, including ourselves, are haystack damage during the winter months. What I call traffic as the elk move across the fields in the freeze and thaw cycle. The actual traffic hazard of crossing roadways and so on. So, as producers, I think we're all concerned for the welfare of the elk. That's probably one of the things that I hear from other people, and that, of course, we don't want to have them on our property and feed them.
One of the things that became very apparent to me early on was this, to a large degree, boils down to a private property rights issue. There are some producers that welcome the elk. There are some that don't like the elk. One of the issues that arises, if you're the one that's willing to host those elk, they don't stay there. They go to the neighbors, they cause damage, and that person who, maybe it's the crop, maybe it's the stacks that are being damaged, and then they go back to the host at night in particular, tends to be an issue. And if you've got elk on your place and you want them off and the neighbors don't agree to it, it becomes difficult for Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife to move those elk onto another person's property or even set foot on their private property because they don't have permission. I will say, though, that the producers in the valley, I think, have been more than abundant with their patience. There are some farmers that have been unwillingly hosting these animals for well over 4 months. And on the other side of that, too, is the response that we've gotten from Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife has been good. They're hearing what the producers say. One of the issues is they don't have a lot of good options on where to go with the elk, and that's one of the things that we're working on. Nothing solid yet, but we're working on through the legislature to give Oregon Department of Forestry more options. I don't think it's going to be one particular solution. It's going to be multifaceted. And the other portion of it is, to me, in my eyes, is it's going to be, unfortunately, a long-term solution. It's not going to be an instant fix. Part of it is through the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife is changing some of the behaviors of these wild animals. They're becoming accustomed to living on the valley floor in the wintertime, and part of it for me goes back to the economic damage that they're causing, and to me that's troubling when we take a large sector of our local economy and start damaging it. We need to find solutions.
And there are several solutions available to them, and hopefully they are able to implement some of those. If they can intercept them and provide them with the forage that they need before they get to the valley floor, if they don't have enough in their winter habitat areas, then they'll be able to hold them before they hit the valley floor. They'll provide fencing materials that you can fence out your haystacks if you don't have an area that's secure enough to keep them out of your hay. They'll provide the materials, but usually you don't know about it until after they've already been in there, and then all the damage is kind of done, and they can do a lot in a night, and then you have problems. But and the foot traffic, the elk going back across the field, the damage to the fields. And as a producer, I don't want compensated for the damage. I don't want the damage to begin with. I just don't want them there.